determined to aid his son Durin and the dwarves of the Gabila Ka to reclaim Mount Gundabad. King Thorin Stonehelm hopes to enlist an unexpected ally at the Lonely Mountain.
Ah, good. Hersig is home.
It has been too long since last I spoke to Hermoth. King Thorin notes a look of surprise on your face. After a moment, he raises an eyebrow in what seems to be some sort of amusement. Ha! Hermoth may have grown old, but he is still a hale warrior, and very much alive. I thought that was clear, my friend. Hersig seems quite engrossed in her reading. Would you find out if Hermoth is around? Very well. So, Hermoth is alive.
Grandfather Hermoth? I never said he was dead.
Oh, I'm sorry, Pine Leaf. I didn't hear you come in. Yes, of course. I'll let him know that King Thorin is here. That's enough reading for now, anyways. Alright. I'll be just a moment, King Thorin. Just a moment. And a moment. Ah! As Hersey crosses back into the hall, she beckons you forth. Ah, come along. Oops. Maybe I should slow down a little bit. Ah, Hermoth Stormhammer. Oh, Thorin! I bid you welcome, King under the mountain. But who is this? Oh, well, I guess I'll hail him after I spent all that time reading his story. I am honored to meet you, Pine Leaf. I am Hermoth Stormhammer, hero of the Azanubizar, keeper of Yarnfast, defender of the Lonely Mountain, wielder of Thineb Abhar, the Thunderstrike, grandfather of Herseg. Yes, grandfather of Herseg. And father of... Bah! Just call me Hermoth. A moment, Pineleaf. I believe it is time I spoke to Hermoth, both to offer him a proposal and to apologize. Let me start by thanking Herseg and Pineleaf. It is because of them that we are now speaking. Although Herseg has told you of the reason of my visit, I have also come to apologize. Apologize? What for? And may I speak plainly, Hermoth? Of course, my king. Is something troubling you? It's about Durin. My son, Durin. Oh, your son, Durin. I see. When the Easterlings crossed through the Ironfold, I did what I thought was best. With war at our doorstep, I ordered my son to remain with Yarnfast until the battle's end. At the time, it seemed the wisest course. But as of late, I find myself questioning that decision and ashamed of its cost. Like my father, your son Durin died in the defense of the Lonely Mountain. He and so many other brave dwarves fell that Durin's folk may endure. Aye, he was a skilled warrior, far better than I. But then I remembered how you and father always speak when I was a boy. You believed that your son would be Durin to come again, Durin the Deathless, reborn at last. But now I fear I have wrought a faith for our sons against the design of the first crafter. What would have been if my Durin joined the battle? Would their fates have been different? Would your son have lived? Would mine have fallen in his stead? You are my father's dearest friend, Hermath. And I have stolen from you what can never be repaid. I have left Herseg without a father. Though not of blood, you're my kin, and I have failed you. How could I dare to ask anything else of you? How could I dare ask anything else? Oh, Thorin! I cannot help but to see Dane's boy behind those eyes. When some mocked you as Stonehelm, I knew better. I did not begrudge you your decisions then, and neither do I now. My son Durin was a hero. I mourn him as any father would, but you bear a needless burden. I do not look back in anger or bitterness, but with pride. Durin was my son, and I loved him. Do not mistake our sorrows for your guilt. If their fates were truly wrought by the first crafter, it would have come to pass just the same. You are the king under the mountain. You have always known wisdom beyond your years. Do tell me, Thorin, do I speak falsely? Dry your tears, my king. You wish for me to aid your son and his Gabil Aha. Is that right? Yes. You need only have asked. I will do it, Thorin. Thank you, Hermath. I do not know what to say. My heart feels lighter this day, Pineleaf. I am pleased that Hermath and I could finally speak plainly of our sorrows. And I am even more pleased that he has entertained the idea of joining the Gabil Aha. How do you think it went?
You must understand, Hermoth was my father's friend, not mine.
After what happened at the end of the war, I feared he would want nothing to do with me. I know how dear Durin was to him, and my heart aches that his son fell in the defense of the lonely mountain. Yet young Hersig has her father's spirit. If Hermoth honors my request as he says, I think he will have a difficult time convincing Hersig to stay behind. Ah, I must return to the hall under the mountain, my friend, but thank you for helping me to clear up the air between us.
Well met.
If my grandfather is going to join the Gabielaka, then so am I. I am no younger than your old friend Dine was when he went to war. Who knows what sort of title I might win for myself? I am going to gather my things, Pineleaf. My grandfather can try to stop me, if he wishes. Aha! If he wishes. What do you say about that?
Would you please give this old dwarf a moment to equip himself? Go on.
I couldn't keep her here even if I wanted a pine leaf. Wait outside for a moment, and I will meet you in the dwelling halls. Would you please give this old dwarf a moment to equip himself? Go on. All right. Very well. I hope he's not too much longer. Ah! There they are. All nice and ready for battle.
There!
There you are ready. There you are ready. Are we all ready?
It's time we set out, I think.
I'm not the young dwarf I once was, so better we travel sooner than later. Ah, but before we go, you should speak to King Thorin. After all, he will wish to know that another dwarf is coming with us. Come along, Pineleaf. We ought to find him at the hall under the mountain. Yes, we shall go and speak with Thorin. Greetings, Thorin. We are ready to head out. Ah, Pineleaf. It's high time you return to my son, I think. After all, there is a war to be won, and a mountain home awaits. Although I am certain that my father Dane would have been just as eager to join in the reclamation of Mount Gundabad, I am pleased that Hermoth will be there to guide Durin in the coming days of his campaign. You have done much to aid my son. For that, I am all of Durin's folk thank you. May the Gabilaka triumph.
Lead the way, my new friend. The prince awaits us.
The prince awakes us. Do not fear for your son Thorin. Your father, Dine, was so proud when he was born, and rightly so. Each of us hoped that our sons would be Durin reborn, and though it was not fated to be for my son, I still hold hope that Durin will embody his namesake when the time is right. Lead the way, my new friend. The prince awaits us. We have arrived.
It has been a long time, but the slate is still as I remember it.
The old fortress had a different name during the Sixth War, but Anacrafu is more fitting, I think. I'm glad that our paths have crossed, Pineleaf. When the time comes to reclaim Gundabad, I will consider myself fortunate to have you at my side, and I'm sure Durin will think much the same. I ought to not keep Prince Durin waiting, so I will meet you inside, my friend. We will meet again inside. Ah, but what about Herseg?
So this is Elder Slade? It's smaller than it seemed in my grandfather's stories.
Yes, it is beautiful, though, and Mount Gunabad is greater than I could ever imagined. Ah, but this is not the time for tours. I am to introduce myself to the dwarves of the Gabialaka and see what needs to be done. I'm sure I'll see you around Pineleaf. After all, this won't be the last time you hear my name. Well, very well. Let's go and find out what's happening. Ah, here we are with Durin alongside with Hairmoth, and Durin better be careful or Hairmoth may decide to whack him with that hammer there.
When I asked my father to send his aid, I did not expect you to return with Hairmoth's Stormhammer.
Ooh, Hairmoth and I have spoken since his arrival, and we have agreed that the Gabilaha will march on to Mount Gunabad at dawn. In 7 days, of course. Those that would answer the muster will need time to travel to the other Slade, and I eagerly await their arrival. Every dwarf shall have a role to play in the reclamation of Mount Gundabad. Very well.
Were it not for you and Gloin, thank you, my friend.
I can hardly believe how much has changed since you departed Elderslade. I am told you studied Hermot's account of the Sixth War, and perhaps I should as well when I at last return to the Lonely Mountain. In the meantime, I am fortunate enough to have the Stormhammer at my side. The last blood of Azog that still dwells within Mount Gunabad, but when the final test comes in those hallowed halls, we shall be victorious. Neither Gorgard nor Hrimil shall keep us from our prize. Were it not for you and Gloin, Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. While we wait that week, there is one more little piece of business I need to complete. Is there actually anything in this spot? Assuming, of course, that I've read the record properly. Let's see what we've got here. Yes, the necklace is there after all these years. Let's go and speak with Herseg about this. Hello again. I went to look for the necklace.
What do you want?
How lovely this is! His wife was a woman of fine taste, and she would have loved this dearly. She joined her husband years ago, however. Their daughter, Elgin, however, lives in Erebor. Right, let's look for Elgin in Erebor. I suspect I better not tell the people at the Quick Post about the lateness of this delivery. Well met. I am indeed Elgun. Thank you for bringing this back to our family. My mother never doubted he loved her. I never get to meet my father, but now I have a piece of him and of their love. Thank you. You're welcome. That concludes the story of the Blood of Azog, which is the latest chapter of the Legacy of Durin. But the story will continue with the release of Gundabad in a few months. And I'll see you then when the Legacy of Durin continues.